Hey, what's up you guys? It's Haley. First things first, check out my new bag. It's so cute. I don't know why I'm shouting, I'm sorry. It's Steve Madden. I love saying that. Look at my Steve Madden bag. Yeah, in reality it was from Ross. It was only $30. It's so great. Anyways, what's up you guys? I have no excuses for why I haven't been uploading. Like literally I didn't do it.
I've been kind of like having a hard time with video ideas, but I still have like some that I could do. But yeah, I didn't upload. I suck. But my good friend, the booktuber, longtime YouTube friend, he's awesome. I'll link his channel somewhere and in the description below. You should really check him out. But this past week, I don't know why, he decided to upload a video every single day for a week. And I know that he's done that before, but for a month to just kind of kickstart like getting back into making videos and stuff. And I think that'd be great for me to do because doing it for a whole week straight will just kind of get me back in the routine of it, as opposed to trying to make like only one a week. And then when I go back to doing the 2 a week, it'll be even easier. But anyways, so this entire week, one video every single day, probably around like 12 p.m., 3 p.m., somewhere around there. But anyways, I hope you guys like them.
Today I am kickstarting it off with a story time video because those are some of my favorites to film. And this is about my worst experience ever with babysitting. And I just want to put out a disclaimer there that the child I was babysitting, he has a lot of issues because his mom was like an alcoholic and things like that. But I'm just saying that like this isn't just some random like bratty kid. Like he has very special circumstances and it makes me really sad, but it was still really hard to deal with. Anyways, so this starts off when I got into my dream college, NYU, and so I was just kind of looking for ways to make money before I head off for college so I can just kind of afford like dorm stuff. So my mom posts on Facebook that I need to be getting like babysitting jobs and like that I'm looking for them and stuff. And so one of our friends reached out to us and said that her friend recently started taking care of her grandson and needed someone to be babysitting like pretty much all of the time because she's still trying to like figure out her schedule and like things like that. And so it was a perfect opportunity for me. I'd be babysitting him like pretty constantly. So I go there the first day and I felt very, very welcome in their house. Then the grandmother explained to me like all of his sort of issues, how she's only been caring for him for the past 4 weeks, blah blah blah. So I was like preparing myself to deal with like a difficult child. The day went by, everything was completely fine. He was a little angel. So grandma gets home and this is like problem number 1. She's like, oh, let's talk about like prices. And I was like, oh, okay. Then she's like, what were you thinking? And I said, oh, like $7.50 an hour. And she's like, that's really high. And I was just really taken aback. And then, so I was like, well, what were you thinking? And she's like, oh, like $4 to $5 an hour, which is insane because that's like half or less than half of the minimum wage, and that's just like not okay.
Basically her reasoning for that was that a daycare would cost $25 a day, so if I'm babysitting for a couple hours, I should be like 5, blah, blah. She worked it all out in her head, and that's not right because a daycare, you're going there with a bunch of other kids, and like you don't get one-on-one attention, and it's like in some like foreign environment, whereas I am coming to your home to babysit your child, and I'm giving him specific one-on-one attention where he can do whatever he wants that he normally do, be more comfortable, have his own food, not like this program at like a daycare. And so I felt like my time and like skill set, that was more valuable than like the daycare and stuff, and like just her reasoning for charging me $5 an hour was like not good. But at the end of the day, I was like, you know what, this kid, he's really good, he behaved himself, and she's in a really hard financial situation, and I would absolutely love to help her out.
You know, I was like, okay, I'll do $5 an hour. But flash forward to the second day, like the iPad, I was letting him play like a little game on my mom's iPad, and it stopped like working, it was freezing up. All I had to do was turn it on and off again, but he like threw a complete fit and like stomped to his room, was banging the walls, was screaming. Then I fixed the iPad, everything was completely fine. The day went on, grandma came home, it was fine. Flash forward a couple days later, and he has more like a bigger tantrum, and I can't remember why he had this tantrum. He just randomly started like freaking out and throwing stuff. And I just spit all over the camera. This kid's just like freaking out. He's throwing stuff. He's growling like an animal, screaming, banging stuff, running down the hall, banging the walls, like pictures like swinging on the walls, slamming his doors, screaming, blah, banging, like, and he starts like throwing stuff at me. First he was throwing like pillows, and that was like, it's not okay to throw stuff, but it's like pillows. Then he starts throwing like his hard toys at me and stuff. Really not okay. So I called the grandma home. I'm like crying because it was going on for like 20 minutes or something, where he's like throwing these things at me and I didn't know how to deal with it. And it's not like I could like physically grab him because like then there could always be something that happens where he's like, she like hit me or something, and like, you know, like you never know what's gonna happen. So like I just like knew that like physical, like trying to like calm him down, like that was not going to be the appropriate way to respond. So I just had to sit there having him throw these things at me. She comes home early, blah blah blah. It's like this whole like thing, and then I'm like, okay, I'll still keep babysitting, but well, whatever. And so the rest of the day, my mom and I kind of talked about like, you know, this whole thing, like, should I go back? Should I charge more money because he is now a difficult child? Should I try and work less? And so I decided that I would charge more money or something. Like, I don't remember what price, but I was like, $5 an hour is not enough. And I said I would charge more money and I would only do it for like 3 days a week as opposed to like 5 or 6 days a week. And so whatever, but then like the next morning when my mom goes to drive me there, she's like, you know what, like, we kind of like decided like you charge more and like work less, but I really just am not comfortable with you going there. You never know what's gonna happen. So I'm like, okay, if you're uncomfortable with it, I don't really like it because it's taking up a lot of my time and it's really stressing me out and stuff. So I'll go and I'll tell her that I can't babysit anymore. And so I do it. She's super nice. And then not that day, but then that day I think he does have another temper tantrum, freaks out, whatever, gets over it, and then come back my last day and everything was like going fine. Like the entire past week he wasn't feeling up to like playing with friends and stuff, but this day he was feeling fine to play with his friends, which was a really good sign. He even asked me if he could go upstairs, they lived in like these apartments, if he could go upstairs and like scooter around with them. And so I'm like downstairs with the door open, just like the screen door, and I'm like just sitting there, and like every like 5 minutes I would like look outside and I would like look up on the little top like terrace or patio or whatever, and they'd be scootering around and laughing and stuff, and it was fine, and I'd make sure to constantly be checking. Well, things like, I don't know what, I just like felt like something was off, and so I go out and like to check on things, and the 2 kids that he was playing with were downstairs, and they're like, oh, he's mad, and I was like, what? I was like, okay, I was like, just leave him alone, because like that's like, you just need to like ignore him when he's upset. And so, but one of the little girls lived upstairs, so she goes to the bottom of the stairs to go back up to her house, and this little kid that I was babysitting took this huge like scooter, like one of those like razor scooters, and threw it down the stairs. Had the girl not moved, it could have like hit her, and she's this teeny tiny little like 6-year-old girl. Like, wow, that could have like done a lot of damage, like concussion, like who knows, like it was a heavy scooter, and he like just chucked it and threw it down the stairs. And so I'm like, this is not okay. So I take the scooter as he's like still walking down the stairs, and I start walking in towards the house, and he's like, give me my scooter back. And I was like, nope, we do not throw things at people, this is not okay. And normally when he's throwing a tantrum and he's throwing stuff at me, I just try and ignore him, but I can't ignore that he almost just put a little girl in the hospital. So I take his scooter back. He's like, give it back, and I'm like, nope, we do not throw things at people, you're not getting your scooter back. And he's like, fine, I'm gonna lock you out of the house. And I'm like, oh my god. And so before he's like able to like close the door and stuff, I'm like halfway in the door, and he like tries to like slam it on me, like it almost closes the door on me, but I'm finally able to get through. And so he like slams it open and goes like, ah, or whatever, and is like screaming. And then so he stomps down the hallway to his room and screams at me. This is a 7-year-old boy, and he screams. Okay, so the game has changed entirely at this point. So I'm like, wow, okay, that happened. And so I called his grandma because I was like, alright, I was gonna try and ignore this temper tantrum, but he almost just like, who knows, could have possibly killed a 6-year-old girl. Tries to lock me out of the house and slam a door on my body, and then curses at me like that. No, not cool. So I called his grandma, and I'm like, well, she's like, oh, do you think he'll calm down? And I'm like, I don't know, he's in his room. Probably trying to calm himself down or something. And she's like, alright, maybe just wait a couple minutes and call me back if you're okay with that. And I was like, alright, I mean, I've dealt with, you know, him being like this before, so maybe I'll just try. But, so while I'm on the phone with her, comes back out and starts like physically assaulting me. I mean, again, he's a 7-year-old, so like, I'm fine, but like, he just starts like pounding on me, like physically, just, oh my god. And I was like, yep, just like holding my arm up, like whatever, as he's like wailing on me. Goes back into his room, is screaming his head off. So I get off the phone with her, and I'm like, alright, I'll wait. And then the sounds like of his screaming don't sound like they're back here in his room, they sound like they're up here. So I'm like, what? Go out to the front of the house. He's running around the neighborhood, the apartment complex. Like this huge neighborhood, like could have gotten out into like the open like street where there's lots of cars and stuff. He's running around screaming his head off. So I call her and I'm like, okay, I have no clue how he got out. Like through his window or something, but he's like running around the neighborhood screaming his head off, and I'm still on the phone with her, like, you know, trying to follow her, but not super close because like then he'd get upset. So I'm following him around, making sure he's like not hurting himself or anything. And then so I'm like, he settles at like this park and he's like in this like basketball area and he's like kicking stuff. I'm like, ha ha, you know, whatever. Kind of starting to unwind, so I just kind of sit kind of far away so I could still see him, but not super close so that he'd be like upset. And I'm on the phone with her and she's like, oh, so what is he doing? I'm like, he's running around the neighborhood screaming his head off. And she's like, oh, okay, so like that's pretty normal. And I was like, okay, so glad I quit. And but then like he starts like calming down again, everything is fine. She comes home. I'm super glad that I quit, never going back there. That is basically the story. Really long story, but yeah, it was like a super long week for me. And it's another thing that bothered me was that I spent way more time in that week. I spent way more time with him than she did. And like I do understand like her work schedule and stuff like that. I totally get that. Like when it's just like, oh, here, have this kid, like, and you are like employed like full time, like you can't just like drop everything. But that was just like, I didn't like that because it was really draining like for me and stuff. But anyways, that's my worst experience ever babysitting. Yeah, absolutely like a nightmare. Like this wasn't just some bratty kid. I would have preferred it almost to be some bratty kid because like I can deal with that. But I did not have the skills at all to deal with like his mental issues and stuff like that. Like the best possible thing that I could do in that situation was just ignore him, and even then he would still punch me and curse at me and run around screaming in the neighborhood. So yeah, just didn't have the skills to deal with that. But yeah, so I'm really glad I quit. I still think about them. I hope they're doing well, but yes, that is my story, my worst babysitting experience ever. If you guys have had bad experiences with babysitting, leave them in the comments down below because I'd be really interested to hear what kind of crazy kids are out there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I look forward to making more videos this upcoming week, and I hope you guys enjoy them. And I will see you tomorrow.
I've been here all night, Ariana. I've been here all day, Nicki Minaj. And boy, you got me walking side to side. I'm talking to you.
I look so white. Did my eyebrows good today though?